Gracious God, may the words from my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be holy and pleasing to you, our rock, our Redeemer. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene came to the tomb. That's how the story of, or John's account of the gospel begins. This line, while it was still dark, really hit me this year. Before we get any bombastic, any trumpet blasting, any joy-filled announcement of the resurrection, before there are any alleluias or lilies or talk of new life, there is darkness, which is where we find Mary, coming to the tomb in darkness, still grieving, still aching, still hurting, still confused, still believing that death has the final word. She's not here at the tomb because she has hope. She's here because of duty, of obligation. She's here because of the burial ritual. And maybe she's here because she doesn't know where else to go or what else to do. And maybe that describes some of you today. You're here out of duty and or obligation because you promised mom or dad or grandma or grandpa, on Easter I'll come to church with you. Here you are. Or maybe you're here because it's routine. You don't know what to do on a Sunday morning if you don't go to church. Sleep in, but your body's so used to it that you just get up and it's like time to go to church. Or maybe some of you are here because you don't know where else to go, what else to do, and you're here maybe hoping you'll find something, you'll feel something, which sort of describes what Holy Saturday is, this liminal space between Good Friday and Resurrection Sunday, when you're not sure if the worst is behind you or if this worst is just the beginning. When you're doing the right thing, showing up, doing what you're supposed to do, but it still feels empty and feels like you're surrounded by darkness. And if I'm honest with you, Easter doesn't fix that instantly, miraculously, or magically. Just because we're here, just because we're reminded of the resurrection, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of our troubles are going to instantly disappear. The original Easter story isn't filled with pastel-colored decorations, with Easter eggs, painting Easter bunnies, and all this good stuff that tries to take our mind off of all the world going to wherever it's going. The original Easter begins in the dark. And I need you to know this today. God does not wait for you to get your joy back before showing up. Jesus doesn't wait for the sun to rise to start the resurrecting. He's already moving in the dark. The first time Mary looks into the tomb, she sees absence. And that's what grief does. That's what despair does. You can be surrounded by people who love you, be in the middle of a season that's technically going all well, and yet still feel like you are surrounded by darkness, that your mind sees emptiness. And I don't say that in theory. I say this out of experience. And I need you to know, first and foremost, that I am okay. In quoting a modern philosopher and poet, Taylor Swift, or paraphrasing, I may not be fine, but I'm okay. I think the line is, I'm okay, but I'm not fine at all. Either way. And I was wrestling all week to figure out if I want to share this story with you because I didn't want to hinder Easter. I didn't want to take the focus off of the Easter message, and I certainly didn't want to make it about me, but without sharing this with you, I had no Easter sermon besides, He is risen. Hallelujah. Yay. See y'all next week when we go back to normal. I've never cried reading the Bible. I've cried in hearing people interpret the Bible in sermons, movies, and whatnot, but I've never cried reading the Bible. And this past Monday, when I was trying to figure out what to preach on, I opened John's Gospel because John, even though he's my least favorite Gospel, his Easter story is my favorite. And I'm sitting at the bar of Pearland Coffee Roasters, And I come to the line, but Mary stood weeping outside the tomb, and I can just feel the tears coming on. And like, I'm not like, oh, I can't cry because I'm a man, because I'm barely a man. But crying in public is just not good. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, where do I go? Because I'm standing at the door. Everyone can see, like, I'm standing facing the door so everyone can see me. So I'm just like, let's just go sit outside for a moment where everyone will also outside. For nearly 2 weeks now, I'll just show you the meme. For nearly 2 weeks, there have been 0 days since I've been crying. About 2 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with depression. And I've been telling my friends and my colleagues that the Episcopal Church gave me depression, which, like many jokes, do carry a bit of truth to it. But currently, there's more truth to it than joke. But there will come a day where, when I tell people the Episcopal Church gave me depression, where it's 99.9% a joke and 0.1% truth. There's been a lot of haze since the year started, and I think this all stems from this conversation that I had between the powers that be and myself in November, where I decided that for whatever reason I'm not going to deal with it, and I just suppressed everything and said, I can do this because this is what I do. And apparently affected me, because all year I just felt like I couldn't get myself to do the things I needed to do. And the more I pushed things off, the more frustrated I became with myself, the more angry I became with myself. Like, dude, just get up. Do it. You need to do this. Leslie's going to call you in a week. If you don't have Leslie's my boss. If you don't have anything ready for her, it's going to be an awkward conversation. Do it. And I find myself, I'll do it tomorrow. So I'm feeling angry about being apathetic and being lazy. And by the way, if there's something that you've asked me to do and I completely forgot to do it, or you sent me something and I completely didn't respond, know that for 99% of you, it wasn't intentional. I'm just kidding. None of it was intentional. But I realized that something was wrong a couple Wednesdays ago when I had a one-on-one with my boss, Leslie, who will be here next week. She doesn't know yet. She'll find out. I'm going to email her on Tuesday when she comes to work. She'll be here this coming Sunday, and we're talking about things that we need to do as a church for the next steps to get, we're no longer a baby church. We are now learning how to walk, and learning how to walk comes with other responsibilities, right? If you're a parent, you gotta make sure that all the corner edges are not so cornery. Doesn't matter, because even at 44, I don't know if you noticed this. It's funny going down. I bumped my head so hard on my car because Nathaniel was saying, "Hey, Orion's belt." I went, "What?" And I went, "Bam!" And I was like, "Okay." And I'm on the ground, like thinking I'm passing out. And Nathaniel's just staring at the sun, stars, going. So I know now that if there's an emergency, I'm on my own. So we're talking, and I felt the spark of excitement, of hope, of the things that we need to do. And Leslie's like, let's do this, how about this? And I'm getting really excited. And then we ended the call, and I felt nothing. It was like that. We went from excitement to nothing. And I went, oh, okay. Something actually really might be wrong with me this time. By the way, for those of you who dragged your friends and family to come to the Easter service saying, "Oh, Joseph is funny," and all that stuff. Sorry. Yeah. We're getting somewhere, I promise. So I'm like, something's not right. So I called my therapist and say, all right, when's the soonest you can see me? He's like, come tomorrow. So I went, sat in his office, and we're talking. I'm telling him all the things I felt. I've been seeing him for about 5 months, and never have I told him how sad I was. Because it's so, I'm paying this guy to listen to my feelings, and I don't want to talk about that part of my feelings, right? And I'm listing off, it's just been sad. I don't know about what. It's just been sad. And after a while, he looks at me and goes, Joseph, friend, I really think you might be dealing with depression. And I said, am I? Or am I just a firstborn Korean son to an immigrant family? And he goes, let me ask you some questions. So we went through this checklist, and true to my Asian form, I got an A+ on that checklist. My reward is, oh, you do have depression. I was like, oh, yeah. I did fail the ADHD testing, though, so whoever thought I had ADHD. But it has helped make sense of everything that I've been experiencing all year. This haze, this fog, this sadness, and just before a couple weeks ago, every time I felt sad, I was like, no time to be sad. No, we are happy. I am content. And then for the past 2 weeks, I let myself feel everything, which always led me to cry. At some point, it just got really ridiculous. Also, this past Tuesday at PCR, almost all my stories. Anyway, I ran into a friend of mine who goes to St. Andrews, and she's always very picky about her drinks. And I'm like, you don't like coffee, stop. And so, well, I'm experimenting with the milk. And we're talking about the different milk, and I was like, why are you going with macadamia milk? Why not just go with oat milk? It's sweet. It's just naturally sweet. And the barista goes, well, oat milk is not really good for, it's really sugary and really high in sugar content. I was like, what? And she goes, it's really, it's the least healthiest of all the milk alternatives. I went, say that again. And she's like, Joseph, if you want, aren't you pre-diabetic? I'm like, yes. It's like, yeah, don't do oat milk. I'm like, why are you telling me now? You've known me for 4 years. You've known, somehow, I don't remember me telling you this, but you know that I was pre-diabetic, and you let me get oat milk? And then so I'm like, I don't believe this. So I'm fact-checking. And turns out oat milk, not good for people who are pre-diabetic. And that made me cry. And I said to myself, now this is ridiculous. There has to be a line somewhere. I'm crying literally over spilled milk. But like I said, everything is slowly coming into focus. And I understand what is happening to me, what has happened to me. And I can trace most of it back to November 14th, my birthday, when the diocese called me. That was a fun birthday. I didn't tell her how it was my birthday. That she's finding out that with all of you that it was my birthday that these people called me and say, hey, by the way. And I want you to hear this from a clergy person, especially on Easter morning. I don't know if I am in the light yet, but I see it. I'm no longer clouded in complete darkness. This sadness is still there. I still haven't gone a day for about 14 to 15 days without crying a little bit. But since I gave myself permission to feel it, to rest in it, to swim in it, to bathe in it, to just, bask in it, I feel the light breaking in, and I feel hopeful. And also, talking about it has also helped me continue to shine this light into this dark space so that it continues to stay lit up. And I also want to tell you that it's okay to not be okay. That life doesn't always go the way that you want, and that sometimes that breaks us in a way that we never thought that we could be broken. And I know some people, not you, but some people who I share this with will say, well, have you, all you need is Jesus. It's like, yeah, but you know what I've noticed? When I was really struggling and praying, Jesus pointed me to, go, you've seen this guy for 5 months now. Go talk to him. When I ask the Spirit, when I pray what's going on, the Spirit keeps leading me into people who can offer actual help. And now because I see light, I feel like I have seen the Lord. But not in visions, dazzling visions, not in angels, not with a voice that's speaking to the clouds, calling my name, Joseph, but through the people around me. Earlier this week, I received a random voice note from a mutual person, from a mutual follower on Instagram. And usually, like, I see someone leaves me a voice note that I don't know, I'm like, delete. But this person had a really big following, so I was like, oh, let's see what this person says. And she left a voicemail saying, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I just felt like something in my spirit said to tell you, you're doing a good job. And that even though this job may, I know how difficult it is to share these kind of stories and whatnot, and I just want you to know that you are making a difference and that you are okay and that you are good and that you are loved. And I'm like, who are you? What is going on? The Wednesday, as soon as the Zoom call ended, and I'm just feeling like, whoa, what's going on? I get a phone call. And I read my screen, and it says, Reggie Clemens, who's the pastor of First United Methodist Church in Pearland. I went, not today. And he left a voicemail, and I checked the voicemail after I kind of gathered myself. And it says, Joseph, I don't know why I'm calling you, but I just felt the Spirit leading me to tell you that you're not alone, and that we love you, and that I'm here for you. You don't have to call me back because I know you're screening your calls. But I just felt like I needed to call you and say that we love you. I'm like, thanks, Reggie. I sent Nick a text message saying, hey, by the way, I'm depressed, like the farewell kind. And Nick sent me a long text that took 2 screenshots to capture it all. And I told him, I'm going to screenshot this because you don't know how much these words meant to me. And I texted some of my friends who I love dearly with their response. Have you tried not being sad? And one of my friends from DC texted me, sounds like you need more Jesus, Joseph. All jokes, and I was like, so just things like this, and these messages that people have left on the window. I am very proud of the people of Shadow Creek because I was certain that we were going to get a lot of trolling messages and whatnot, especially because, I still think a lot of people thinks that the flag belongs to the Taekwondo studio. I'm not going to change their minds otherwise. But not only have 80% of the pens still remain, people actually wrote really hopeful things. And I'm reading each and every single one of them and getting all misty-eyed and people walking by. I'm like, oh, it's really dusty, huh? Oh, allergies, the pollen season. Of course, my wife and my son. When I was officially diagnosed, I went to pick up my son from school. And on the way home, for the whole rest of the day, every other sentence was like, Daddy, are you okay? Dad, are you okay? Oh, well. If I do cry, this will be the first time. And then, of course, Rahel, who probably didn't sign up for this. And also, humor is one way I deal with things. And after a while, she was out gardening, and I was watching. Do you guys know who Boyce Avenue is? They do these acoustic cover songs, and I love them. And I haven't listened to them for a while, and so I'm catching up. And they're doing this rendition of This I Promise You, and NSYNC, the best boy band ever to exist outside of Korea. And they're singing this stupid song. And I'm crying. And Rahel comes in, and she looks at me, and she goes, are you crying again? And then the next thing, she's like, how many times did you cry today? 2. She's like, oh, that's better than the other day. They've been the ones who quietly and consistently handed me hope, like bread that I forgot I needed. And that's what resurrection looks like sometimes. Mary doesn't recognize Jesus at first. And that's not due to a lack of faith. It's just reality. Sometimes resurrection is too unrecognizable. It's too new. It's too strange. It's too impossible. But then Jesus says her name, Mary, and everything changes. She goes from thinking that somebody took the body to realizing the one that she thought was gone is standing right in front of her. She goes from grief to recognition. She goes from darkness to light. She goes from I don't know where he is to I have seen the Lord. And here's the kicker. When she recognizes Jesus, Jesus says, do not hold on to me. Do not cling on to me, which is a really weird response. But maybe resurrection isn't about clinging to what was. Maybe it's about being invited into what will be. And I am starting to let go of the things that I've clung on to and accepting the invitation into what will and can be. So I ask you the same questions that I've been asking myself. Where have you seen the Lord? Who in your life has handed you hope in the dark? What are you being called to let go of so that you can rise? Because Easter is not just about Jesus rising from the dead, it's also about you being raised too. And it's not necessarily instant or magical or a quick fix. Resurrection is real, but sometimes it's really quiet. Sometimes it walks up behind you while you are still weeping. Sometimes it looks like a gardener. Sometimes it takes time. But this much is true. Jesus is still calling names in the dark, for he is risen. And that means you are not alone. It means that death never gets the final word. It means that you can stop clinging to fear, shame, and failure. It means that love is still more powerful than despair. It means that you, too, with all your chest, can say, I have seen the Lord. Because Easter and the resurrection is not a third-person story. It is a first-person experience. To say, I have seen the Lord is to name resurrection right in the middle of ruins. To say, I have seen the Lord is choosing life even when you're feeling the sting of death. To say, I have seen the Lord, it means that death never gets the final word. It means that you can stop clinging to fear, shame, and failure. I already said that. It means that love is still more powerful than despair. It means that holding on to love when hatred feels like it's winning. It means choosing kindness and decency when cruelty keeps on trending. It means choosing to bring light into the spaces where your own mind has convinced you that everything is dark. Because I have seen the Lord is not a statement, a claim. It is a moment. It is a moment when the heaviness just lifts just enough for you to take a step forward. It's a moment where hope sneaks in, even if it's only for a breath. It's a moment when someone shows up with grace and you realize you are still here standing and breathing. I have seen the Lord as us being persistent and insistent that there is good and beauty and love and life in this world. And it is an invitation for us to be the good, the beauty, the life, and the love in this world. Because we need people who have seen the Lord, who have been shaped and marked by the resurrection. People who will say all that you see is not what it has to be. We need people like Mary to name what the world sees and then name how the resurrection enables us to see the world differently. And so may that be you. May that be me. May that be us. So fear not, for Christ has overcome the world. Step into the courage and live the life and work that God has given you. Because Easter isn't over when we leave to go on with our day. It's not a historical once and done event. The promise of the resurrection isn't simply what God has done, but it is what God continues to do today in you, with you, through you, and us. God is still leading us forward into new life. God is still leading us into new possibilities. God is still leading us into forgiveness. God is still leading us into love. And the best response that we can offer to this world from this day forth is, I have seen the Lord. For God is still creating joy out of fear. For God is still forgiving, restoring, renewing, redeeming. For God is still raising the dead. And because of that, my friends, you too are risen. You are risen indeed. I invite you to stand with me